first saw the Elastico move, it was performed by Ronaldinho actually, but the creator was Rivellino back in the 1970s.
It just kind of sums up what Brazilian football is all about.
Not only is it functional and it gets you away from people, but it's such a difficult skill to execute as well, and trying to do it at full pace.
Ronaldinho made it famous in the past like 10 years.
Flicks it with one foot and then flicks it again back. Oh, right. I thought Elastico was when the elastic went on your pants.
In Spain we call it el caño, and I think it comes from more South American tradition.
I think with the nutmeg, it's like the humiliation thing. Like we used to do it in the playground all the time.
It's not a nice feeling when it happens to you, because also you're sort of caught flat-footed. So if somebody nutmegs you, very little chance of recovering. So you know, that just adds to the humiliation.
If I'd stuck it through Julian Dix's legs or Razor Ruddock, you know, if I'd shouted Megs, that is a very disrespectful thing to do. You know, there could be injuries there. You achieve it, you don't shout Megs unless you're meant to.
When we were kids, we used to call it the Pelé flick, because I think it was the film Escapes of Victory, is it, when Pelé did it? So it was really famous through that.
I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, Pelé doing it, but I don't think many people have seen it doing it again. Because it's a very, very difficult skill to do.
And we just used to do it in the playground, but JJ Okocha did it probably in the last 5-6 years.
You'd watch him Bolton games just to see him pull out a trick.
You don't expect those moves, because that's more of like a freestyle move, you know, to flick the ball in the air. And it's popular, but to do that in a Premier League game or a World Cup like that is it's impressive.
Seal dribble was invented by a Brazilian football player, Curlon, and made famous probably recently by Nani against Arsenal. He was back to goal, he was just dribbling it with his head.
That's freestyle in a game done properly, because the ball's on your head, and everyone says, oh, you put the ball on your head and run, but that Curlon actually did it in a match and proved it works. So it's balance, speed, coordination, and you can't really see that much because you're looking up as well. So to do that in a game is brilliant. It's ridiculous, really.
If someone was dribbling with their head, you'd be tempted to nut them.
If someone's dribbling with their head, I'd call them an ambulance.
I think with the runaround move, it's that change of pace, and I always used to see Giggs do it all the time. I think nowadays, like players like Antonio Valencia, because they're so fast, and if you're up against him, he's literally going to knock it one side, and the change of pace is that does it.
First round around has to be Bergkamp, where he flicked it around the Newcastle defender before putting it in. Absolute genius, from a genius player.
The hard thing is getting the timing right, and once you get that, it's more of a winger's move. It's like a step over in a way.
You have your right leg, if it's your kicking foot, and you kick behind your left like that.
Oh, that one.
If you're not too great on one foot, you can wrap your other one round and cross it in, and I think that's why a lot of the top players have used it.
For me, this is a total waste of time flick. I think it'll be easier for you to practice how to kick with your left foot rather than putting your right foot behind.
If it works, then it works, you know, it doesn't matter what it looks like. If it gets to the point and if it gets the ball in the goal or to the next man, then of course it's necessary, yeah.
Why don't you just cross it normally, like a normal fella?
Nah, you get picked for England if you did that.
If I was to characterise Zinedine Zidane, it would be about elegance and skill, but also functionality. And I think that this Marseille turn kind of encapsulates all of that.
Played against Zidane a few times, and I see in live that turn.
It's almost like a ballerina, is like pirouettes on the ball. And I think the best way of doing it is on an angle, because your body's in the way of the ball and the man, and that's why it's a great move.
Is that the one where you tread on top of the ball and turn it around? Yeah. No, I'm not good enough for that. I've only got little legs, I can't get my feet up that high.
The first time I saw a bicycle kick was Trevor Sinclair, actually, when I was younger, and he did that, and it was like probably one of the best goals I've ever seen.
I wouldn't try that one in a match, just in case I embarrass myself.
I scored a good overhead kick for Celtic against Dundee at Celtic Park. I don't know where it come from. I think 50,000 of the crowd were as surprised as I was that I'd done it, and I pulled it off.
The timing as well, because you're going to have your feet above the head, obviously. So to have the right timing and to get the right touch of it, it's quite difficult, and it needs a lot of practice.
We all tried a bicycle kick though, don't we?
Yeah, I've tried it on a bouncy castle after being drunk.
I always remember Danielson back in '98 World Cup. He'd just like go up to someone and do about 20, and the guy was like falling over in front of him.
Players with quick feet do it 4 or 5 times. They go step, 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 steps, and then they go one way or the other.
Obviously players like Ryan Giggs use it, Ronaldo.
David Rocastle at Arsenal had a great step over Rocky. Chris Waddle had a brilliant step over.
It's the type of move like wingers would use to get around your man and cross the ball in.
1974, World Cup finals, Germany, Johan Cruyff with a turn. When I saw that, I jumped out of my seat.
It's one of the great images of World Cup history, Cruyff doing that turn on the Sweden right back.
Cruyff was a genius, and by doing it behind your other leg, what allows you to get the ball in a position where you're already directed to the, well, obviously to the goal or to the line where you're facing. So it's pretty quick and very practical.
You turn and go the other way. It's very hard for them to take the ball away from you, and it's very effective.